That we're live. Nothing coming up on Facebook yet, but hopefully that's worked. It should have done. And welcome to Craft with Carol live on a Tuesday. You can hear my clock boinging, so I'm bang on time, which is really good. I have my craft desk ready and we're going to make some cards today. I've got a couple of little projects, one a little bit of a wow project and the other one just a fairly ordinary project. Just want to show you a really simple thing you can do to make a little present for somebody. So I'm hoping that we can get the chat going this week. No, I think I need new glasses. There we go. Chat on a, what's that? Oh, I see. Oh, that comes up. That's quite good because it'll, oh yeah, okay. Right, well, we'll have it up there. Click on a chat message to display. Well, we don't need that all the time. So we'll get rid of that one. There we go. So that, oh, oh, right, okay. No, we'll have it like that. That's fine. Okay, so let me just get to these the right way round. Is that upside down? No, it's okay. That's all right. Thank goodness for that. Okay, now, why is it not going on? Perhaps I need to, I'm just checking Facebook and perhaps I need to refresh the page or something. Oh, yes, there we go. Lovely. We are live on both. So I've got those up, so I should be able to see any comments on there as well. So you've got me as a little thing in the corner and you've got me with my craft desk, which is what I'm hoping people can see. So if you are there, then please do say hello, really, because I desperately need to check the chat. So if you are listening and if anyone comes on, I should be able to see numbers if people do arrive. If somebody does come, and please say hello so that I can check if the chat works. I had a long conversation with the people that run the streaming process last week in the hope that we'd get it sorted, but nothing much was there anyway. So nobody up them there. And again, I'm keeping an eye on Facebook for any comments there. So yes, if you are there, if you're there, is anybody there? If anybody is there, then please do say hello. So this week I wanted to have a play with the Softly Sophisticated stamp set. That's actually a bundle. I'll show you the other bit of it in a minute. But this is part of Celebration, and we only have the rest of this week and next week until a week on Friday left to order Celebration items. And I don't want you to miss out on some of these really gorgeous sets. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a throb. I had a cold, and it's, as if you were with me last week, you'll know that I was starting with my cold. It's now more or less gone, but I still do have a bit of a cough left. So if I do croak a bit, that's why. The other thing I'm using from Celebration is this. It's the Softly Stippled. See how careful I was to say that. Softly Stippled designer series paper. And this, again, is another Celebration item. And it's 12 by 12, so you get an awful lot of sheets. I've used quite a few, as you can see, but they're really beautiful. I'll try and show you some of the ones that so there is this. I love this. This is beautiful. It's like a sort of washy grey pattern, just sort of splodgy, like paint stripes on it, which is lovely. And that's the reverse of this pattern here with the glorious flowers on it. And what else do we have? I'm just going to ease them out because it's going to be easier to show you. There we go. We have this rather lurid, I have to say, flirty flamingo flower pattern as a background, but it's again got this gorgeous pebbled path dotty pattern. I hope you can see that on the back. That's beautiful. Then there's this lovely wild wheat pattern, just of sort of foliage, and that has a lovely balmy blue, or no, it's not balmy blue, that is Pool Party by the look, and Pool Party pattern on the back, just a sort of, I don't know, ginghamy sort of pulled back. I don't know, it's very beautiful anyway. Then we have a black and white one with some beautiful roses on. Now obviously that can be coloured. That matches nicely the Stippled Roses stamp, which I don't have, but I could use this and just fussy cut those roses out and use those on on some sort of background. But that has a really quite lurid patterned background. And then we have this beautiful Pool Party, which has got just little flowers all over it, and that has a wild wheat sort of Hessian type background. And then finally, there is this one, which has more flowers. Again, this sort of stipply effect on them, which is quite nice because it's quite subtle, and which I like. So it does make good backgrounds, and that has a sort of plain or wild wheat back on it. So those are all the papers. I think that's all of them. I've used so many, I might have not shown you, but I think that's all of them. So I should have been counting, of course, that would have shown me. Anyway, this is the set I'm going to use, and this set comes, it's a celebration item. It has 3 lovely sentiments, and then it has 2-step stamps of flowers and foliage to go. One foliage goes with the smaller flowers, the fatter foliage, if you like, goes with these larger flowers. And the bundle includes the embossing folder, and I hope if I put it on my hands, you should be able to see the actual pattern on the embossing folder, which I am going to use in the second card. I love embossing folders, and this is beautiful. It is called Softly Sophisticated. I made a mistake when I was typing out on my labeler, but I know what it is. That's all that matters. Okay, so let me show you what I am making today. I thought we'd do something slightly different, and rather than do a single card, I'm doing a little card set. So I've just got 4 of our note cards and envelopes. This is actually from the Memories and More set, which comes as cards and envelopes in 2 different sizes. So this is the smaller size. So the envelopes are already there, which is beautiful. And then we've got the card bases. And all I've done, and I've actually cut out the bits, I'm going to make a little set of little notelets. So this one, I've just used hello there to show you what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to be stamping this flower stamp and then stamping a sentiment, which I will probably vary slightly. So that's the first one. So let me show you how to put these stamps together. Because there's a way that is easy to make sure that the stamps line up, and there's a way that's slightly more difficult. So I'm using, for my colours today, I'm using Mossy Meadow for the stems, and I'm using Blackberry Bliss for the flowers, which means that my stamp is already quite coloured, because obviously the red-based stamps do tend to colour your stamps. It doesn't affect them in any way other than to give them the colour. It doesn't stop them stamping, and it doesn't affect how they stamp at all. So let us get going and do some stamping. So I'm going to be a bit dangerous today, and I'm going to open some separate ink pads, and I'm going to get my memento as well, because I need that for my sentiment when we choose it. So I've already cut these pieces of card, and I had written down somewhere what the sizes were, and of course I have completely lost it, which is ridiculous. So let me give you these measurements. I'll have to measure to show you. So the pieces of DSP, and I want this as a set, so I want them all matching. So I've used the back of that rather nice pool party. I was going to use that side, and then I thought, no, I actually prefer the wild wheat side. So this is 3 inches by 4 inches. So in centimetres, that is 7.5 centimetres by 10.3 centimetres. So that's the DSP piece. And then my basic white topper is 6.5 centimetres by 9.3 centimetres. And in inches, that is just over 2.5 inches. It's actually 2 and 9 sixteenths, do my maths right, and 3 and 5/8. So those are obviously it doesn't matter quite so much. You can cut this piece on top to be whatever size you want, but that's what I've cut it to. So I get the writing pad for the right bit. It was dangerous opening both at once. Never mind. So this is Mossy Meadow, and this is hopefully you can see now I've actually put some ink on it. Hang on, hold it against some white. There we go. That is the sort of taller, thinner stem. So I'm going to put that in the corner, and then I'm going to do a second one just alongside, pointing across the card, just like that. So those are my stems. Move that ink pad so I don't ink up the wrong bit. So this is my flower stamp and my rather grotty looking Blackberry Bliss ink pad. Perhaps I need a new one. So there is a way to line these up. So the top, as you can see on this piece, there's like a little cup to fit one of the flowers. There's a cup here to fit a flower. There's a cup down here and there to fit a flower. So you want to sort of line those up. Those fit the buds, and then the flowers themselves stick on the end of these stalks. So I found the best way is to line up this top stamp here with this top bud, and this one on the left-hand side with the left-hand bud, and then everything else seems to actually fit in. So if I show you, I'll have to lean over a little bit to show. So I'm lining up, because I can see through these stamps, lining up the top one and the side one, and then all the others should be in the right place. There we go. And so these sit in the little cups, and then you've got the flowers at the side there. So I'm going to repeat that and do it on this one as well. So I'm lining up my little cups. That's about right. Try not to move it too much so I take it downwards. There we go. So there's my 2 flowers on the stems. And then I'm going to use the hello here. We'll have 2 hello heres and 2 something else's. We'll see. 2 hello there's. There we go. So I'm just going to stamp that. This is just stamped in Memento, by the way. And that just goes across the top there. Now you could put an extra layer on that. You could put the sentiment as something separate. But I wanted to make these really simple because I want to make a little box for them on another video. It won't be today because I've got the other project to show you. So oh, we've got somebody starting to watch. That's lovely. So if you are watching, please, if you wouldn't mind making a comment, because I need to check that my comments are working because they didn't seem to be last week. So if you are watching, please add a comment so that I know if we're actually, I think I've got it on the right setting. What does that? Yeah, no, that is correct. So let me know if you are. That would be great. Okay, so that's my first one to match that one I've already done. So I'm going to make 2 more, just slightly differently. So I've already got the pieces there. So these 2 are going to be the same. I'm going to change the sentiment. Should I do that? You're in my thoughts on this. Sorry, I really appreciate you. I think we'll use you're in my thoughts. So we'll just swap the sentiment off the pad here. Stick those back in. Oh, by the way, when it's clear stamps, oh, just dropped something. I don't know what that was. When I've got clear stamps, I stick them against the images on the back of the stamp case and then just cover it with the thicker piece of film that comes with the stamps. Because then I know if I've got all the stamps and they're all there, because you don't want to lose them. They can be quite difficult at times. Right. Oh, this cough is just so annoying to get rid of. Right. Why does that say show? I don't know. Oh, hi, Carol. Yes, it works. It works. Lyris, hello. Thank you so much. I just needed to check that was working. So that's really brilliant. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you can see. So I'm just making this little note set. And these are the Memories and More note cards. They come in 2 different sizes and they come with the cards and the envelopes. And I think there's something like 10 of each size. So 1 the normal size and 1 these smaller ones. But I thought this would make a nice little set. So I'm just doing 2 of each sort. Obviously, you could have 4 different ones. It's totally up to you. But I'm going to make them match. So we're going to have this now. I'm going to put 1 down here and 1 over here. Just angled together slightly like that, just to be different, because I don't want them all the same. I don't like doing cards all the same. Although if you want to do a set, obviously that works nicely. So there we go. So I'm having these 2 sort of pointing in here. And to line up these stamps, I can put this away now because I've used that. Save me possibly leaning on it, which I did earlier, and then had to go and wash everything. Honestly, such a mess. Right. Well, no, it's the same one. Okay. Oh, I see. If I move my... that's why it was saying show, because I've got my mouse over it. Right, okay. But that works. Thanks ever so much for that. Right, so to line these stamps up, as I've said, there's a bud at the top, which fits into that little V shape at the top. And then there's buds at the side, 1 there, and then 2 flowers. And so if we line up a couple of these things, the rest of them fall into place. So the top bud fits into that top sort of nest. What are they? What are the things behind buds? I've no idea what they're called, but the things that sort of sit to support a bud anyway. So that's lined that one up. So I'll do the second one here. So I'm just going to fill these all in. And this is Blackberry Bliss I'm using here. That's those 2. And I'll do the 2 on this side in the same way. So as I said, I just find that if I line up 2 or 3 of the points, then the rest of them are just going to fall into place. So I don't need to worry too much. So just line up a couple of the points. I like to line up the top one, that's important to me. And then the 2 side ones, and then the rest of them just fall into place. So that's great. So that is my stamping done with my coloured pads. Put those away. And as I said, I'm using the You're in My Thoughts for these two. So I'm just going to have this centrally this time. Ooh, didn't take too much care to make that straight, did I? Never mind. It'll do for now. Okay, so clean those later. So it's a matter of just making up these cards now. So I've got my... Now, interestingly, I had sort of odd bits of this, so I cut it in 2 different directions, but I don't think it actually matters because it's just the background for these front bits. So I don't think I'm going to worry too much about that. I wanted to use up all of the scrap there. Lovely. So now it's a matter of putting this lot together. And as I say, I think there's something like 10 cards you get in this set of the Memories and More note cards and envelopes. So you can make quite a few of these. I'm just doing these few. I should have folded the cards first. My little tip for the Memories and More cards, they are scored, but they're not always exact. And I'm ever so OCD about trying to make sure my cards are exact. So I would always just check when you're folding them that it is actually going to do. And I should have done that first because look, my DSP needs to move over now. I don't know if I can. No, it's a bit stuck down. Never mind. We'll have to just cope with that one. So I shall fold the others before I put these bits on. That's my second card. So I'll fold these and stick the other 2 together, and then we've got our little set, and I'll show you what I want to do with the envelopes, because I don't like a naked envelope. I don't know, do you like to I always like to decorate my envelope in some way or other, and I'm going to show you a couple of little ways of doing it when I've just stuck these together. So I didn't do that one very well. They're not sitting very flat. It doesn't matter. I can worry about those later. I just want to get them together to show you the set. And then I'll show you my other card that I've got ready to do, which I'm quite excited about, quite pleased. So a second hello there one. I like these papers with a bit of pattern that mean it helps me line up my next layer properly. That's always a help. So the lines in this sort of weave pattern from this gorgeous softly stippled paper, they really do help you line up. So that's better. That's more in the middle than the previous one. So I will have these measurements that I've used in my blog later on today. It will come out around, I don't know, sometime this evening. And if you're on my email list, you'll get a notification tomorrow that it has actually come out. So there are my 4 cards, 2 hello there and 2 you're in my thoughts. Just little note cards. So I'm not going to actually stamp anything inside, because with a note card, I like people to be able to write what they want in there. But the envelopes, I've got ink all over that envelope. Never mind. I shall get a new envelope for that later on. We won't worry about it now. But for these envelopes, what I often do with an envelope is stamp. And I could stamp, which means using the 2 stamps again and trying to line them up and all of that, which is fine. And I might do that on some of them. But another way to do envelopes is to use some of this glorious paper. And here is more of this paper. I don't know if this little piece is going to be big enough for me to show you what I mean. No, it isn't quite. We need the bigger piece. But one thing you can do is actually stick a piece of the DSP over the envelope. Let me show you what that would look like. So to do that, I actually put the glue on the envelope itself, so on the envelope flap, being careful to put it not quite to the edge because we don't want it squeezing over. And then I can put my paper on top, because envelopes are not a rectangle or anything useful to actually cut. So you want to put your paper on first, stick it down. And I've used the pattern side of this because I quite like the flowers on it. And then if you turn it over, you can see you've got something then to cut around. So you can just simply use your scissors and just trim around that. It's a lot easier than trying to measure it and trying to cut it to shape, because quite frankly, that way, in my view, lies madness. And I'm not into madness. I'm into making it easy as far as possible. So just going to cut around here and then finish off this bit, just cutting very roughly. Just obviously you could take more time, but that then gives you just a very pretty back to the envelope. So I'm going to do that with all four, but I'm not going to do it while we're all talking, because that, quite frankly, is silly because it takes up time. But that is just to go with there. I could have used this one on the back. I didn't want to. I don't think that looks right, this pattern on the back of the envelope, and I quite like the flowers. So there is my little pack of 4 note cards, and I shall finish doing the envelopes later. And another week I'll show you how to make little boxes for these. I have done previous blogs on how to make boxes for sets of cards, so you can search for that on the website if you want to know. Basically you measure around and then work out your box measurements, but I'll go through that another time. I will do it on one of these lives, so that if you've got a question you can come and ask. But I want to show you a second project before we finish today. So let me just put all of this to one side. I shall get a clean envelope for the 4th one and finish the envelopes later. I'm just going to tidy up these stamps before I lean on them, especially this one that I use Blackberry Bliss, because they do stain, and I should have probably cleaned that before I'd left it there. This is one of the magic stamp pads. Sadly, we don't have this anymore, but mine's going nowhere, and it does just help take some of the colour off. It doesn't get rid of it. Once you've used one of these dark colours on a stamp, it does stain it, but as I say, it doesn't damage the stamp in any way, so it doesn't actually matter too much. It just doesn't look very nice. It looks a bit unsightly. I have some of my sets, particularly heart sets and things, where you're always using red inks, because it is the red inks that do it more than any other. And yeah, some of them are a bit of a mess, but hey. So I'm just going to put these away because I don't need these ones anymore. Oh, there's my beautiful coloured one. It is a bit of a mess, isn't it? Never mind. There we have it. And the You're in My Thoughts. There. You can see I've got some stamps missing. That is because they are on my other project. So just put those to the side. Over here. I've got quite a big desk, but you wouldn't know it when I've got all my stuff around. So this is my second project, and again, I've already done a little bit of the preparation. And I'd showed you before the stamp set that I'm using, the Softly Sophisticated, and this glorious. So you can see the. Trying to see where you can see the pattern on it. There we go. This lovely Softly Sophisticated embossing folder that comes with it. So I have used that on this card, and I've already made some of the bits because, again, I didn't want to start cutting out and doing lots of embossing because it takes time. But I'll show you what I've done. This is a normal card base, so that's centimeters 21 by 14.8, scored at 10.5, or 8.5 by 5, scored at 4 1/4 if you work in inches. So that is my card base. Then I've got a layer, and I've used here Balmy Blue, and my layer is for inch sizes, it's 1/4 inch smaller, so it's 4 by 5 1/4. And my second, and in centimeters, that is 10 by 14.3. And then my third layer is again another 1/4 inch smaller, so it is, get this right, 3 3/4, I think that is 3 3/4 by what would that be? Gone blank. 5. 3 3/4 by 5, and in centimeters that is 13.8 by 9.5. Oh, honestly, measurements, they get me. But I've got them all. I will have them all written in the blog for tonight as well. which I shall do as soon as we finish this live. So you'll be able to see the measurements there. So what I've done, I just cut a very plain layer of balmy blue, and then I have actually, hopefully you can see it on here, try and get the sun, because the sun is coming out. It's improved. The day is so nice now. It was horrible this morning because I was recording a video. That's better. Now you can see the pattern. So I've just embossed this with the Softly Sophisticated folder. And yeah, excuse me again. And yes, this morning I was trying to video something, and it's quite a subtle card with quite dark colours, and it just looked really black. I couldn't get the light right at all, but never mind. You'll see that one on Friday because that's Friday's video. But anyway, let's get on with this card. So that's my background, and in fact, I'll stick those down now before I forget. And I'm just going to stick these flat. I've mentioned before, but I'm very aware nowadays that you can't put too many layers on a card without paying a ridiculous amount in postage. So I tend to keep my cards a little bit flatter than I always used to, just because of that. I don't believe in paying the post office just because I'm creating some masterpiece, but that's just me. So I'm going to stick these layers on flat. So that's my plain balmy blue layer. And then this is my embossed layer. And of course, you can use whichever side you want. The debossed side is just as pretty as the embossed side, actually. But I'm having the embossed side, the bit that's sticking up, coming forwards. So I'm sticking my glue on the debossed side, the bit that goes downwards. So, and all embossing folders will produce those two things. So you have got a choice with embossing folders, which sides to use when you use them. The bit that sticks up or the bit that goes down. And sometimes one looks better than another on a project. So there's my two layers ready on my card. And as you can see, I'm making this a landscape card. And I've already cut out, this is from the Thoughtful Expressions dies. Now, I love these. They cut out, I don't think I've got the stamp set sitting around. I can't show you, but the stamp set has a hummingbird and some flower clusters. And this has extra leaf and flower dies to go with it as well. But the thing I love about this are these two frame sets. So we've got this sort of rectangular bobbly frame, but you've got this beautiful circular, I don't know what it is, it's sort of circular sort of flowing frame thing, which is lovely. And I've cut out the biggest one of those in balmy blue because that's going to be my background, and then I'm going to, when I've done my stamping, I'm going to cut it out with the next size down to form the frame on top of it. So this time I am using these two stamps. These are the ones we used on the small card, so I'm using these two now for this card here, and I am going to use Azure Afternoon. I thought of balmy blue, and then I still might go back to balmy blue, actually. We'll see. I'm going to put this bit down first and we'll see. I just thought I want the flowers to stick out, but Azure Afternoon might be a little bit too bright for that. We'll see. I might go back to balmy blue. So I'm going to start off. I'm using Old Olive for my leaves. So I'm having those. Just make sure that, yeah, fully inked. We'll have those just here. On my scrap of basic white. Doesn't matter how big it is, just big enough so that it'll cut out with the frame that you need to use, obviously. So put that away there. And then, what do you think? I need some advice, folks. Do you think I should go with balmy blue for the flowers, or should we try Azure Afternoon, see what it looks like? I always have I have an emergency side if I need it. So let's perhaps try the Azure Afternoon and see what it looks like. So again, we've got to line these up. And this time you have a bud on this left-hand side, and that matches this little tiny bud on the flower stamp. So I can line that up there, and then my flowers will sit on top of this stem here. So those are the points I'm going to use for this stamp to line it up. Which is quite bright, but it's a lovely blue Azure Afternoon, which I suppose, given the name, it should be. So get this lined up as much as I can. That'll do. There we go. So there we have the flower just on there, which is, I think, is rather beautiful. So that is going to sit here, and I want to just check with my frame to see how much room I've got for a sentiment, or whether I put the sentiment somewhere else. Oh yeah. So I have got room. I can have a sentiment underneath if I cut it out that way. I can have a sentiment across here, which I quite like. And I quite like to make this a thank you card, mainly because I need some thank you cards. I like to give a thank you card with all my orders, and sometimes it's difficult to find a decent card. And I think I might put this on a separate piece of white actually, and then have it raised up. So I'm going to use this is my go-to. You see what I did there? This is my go-to greeting stamp set, and it's called Go to Greetings, and it's got all the sort of common greetings, and I use it a lot. So I'm going to use the thank you, and I can probably use the middle-sized thank you. Let's just, stuck down. Sometimes I do find that if I haven't used it for a while, it has got stuck down. So I just need my pokey tool, which I seem to have lost now. Oh, where's my pokey tool? There we go. And if you just very gently stick that under the edge of the backing of the stamp, I can lift it without damaging the stamp. If you try and just tear the stamp up, sometimes you can damage it. So now I've got the stamp perfectly all right there. So I can just check that it will fit in there. Yes, it will. And I can stamp it here and it won't be in the way. That's fine. Or I could be profligate and use a separate scrap. Let's just do that. That would be great. And I'll just use Memento here. So don't do that on a squishy stamp set. That's silly. Always have a nice firm background for you. So thank you. There we go. Put this away before I lean in it. My usual trick. So now I can just use some scissors to trim that, and I'm just going to trim it at the same each side. And I might take a strip off the top. Now I should use my trimmer here, but I'm just going to do it by eye for quickness here. It wasn't quite straight, but it'll do. And then I'm going to just flag the ends, by which I mean I'm just going to cut in. So I work out roughly where the middle of that is and just make a cut in, and then I can go from each one. I'm not going to go quite to the corner because that'd be too big, but come in from the same point at both sides and just make my flag like that. And I can do the same thing this end. Just going to cut in. This time I am going to go more or less from the end, just to do a flag like that. And then this can sit above here, which will look fine. Just tidy up. And I need to just go and die cut my flower now. So I'll just work out where I want it, which is there. So if you'll excuse me, it might fit in here. I'm just going to say I might have to use the big machine, but no, I think it's going to fit. I'll just move this to one side. Noise of this, it's very noisy putting these down often. But I'll try and keep it fairly quiet. There we go. And then I can get my cutting pad here, and hopefully this will fit all right. Let's see. It might just damage the side of the card a little bit, but I don't think that matters. Somewhere I've got a little bit of tape I can just hold that down with. Well, I would have had if I didn't manage to fold it in on itself. There we go. Minute bits of tape, but it'll just hold it while I put it through the machine. Make my sandwich. Little clue, by the way, if you're using the mini, I always stagger the plates because it does go through better. If you have the plates exactly lined up, quite frankly, it's a nightmare because it's really difficult to start it going through. But if you have them just like that, just a bit not lined up exactly, it will go through really easily. Okay, let's see if that has. Oh yes, it has beautifully. There we go. Just get rid of all of this detritus. Shut my machine up again so I've got room. Hello, Trudy. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining me. And Veronica as well. How lovely. Thank you, people, for saying hello. You like the blue flower? Good. I wasn't quite sure. I didn't know if that was going to be too bright, but I think it's actually going to be just right. I hope you agree with me there. So I've got all my bits together. I just need to put this through. And I was talking about layers. So I'm going to stick this one flat, but then I'm going to raise this. No, I might not raise that. I might raise the thank you. I only want one layer up. if I put 2, as I said, it just gets so expensive with postage. It's awful. So I've been quite careful with this, by the way, to get it the right way round. If you'll see, I've got a sort of knobbly bit and 2 pointy bits either side of that die, which is how I've cut this picture out. So I need to make sure this is on the right way round, if you like. So that's top and bottom, which it is, and hopefully that's not quite in the middle. That's more in the middle. There we go. So I can stick that down. Then what do you think, folks? Do you think I should... What do you think? Should I put these up on? Should I put this up on dimensionals, or shall I just put the sentiment up on dimensionals? What do you think? What do you think? I think probably I'll put the thank you up on dimensionals. I don't know what you think with that, but I think that's where we'll go. So I'll put this one on flat. So there we go. Put that on. So just to remind you that this is the Softly Sophisticated bundle, and you can still get hold of this with a with a £90 order for the whole bundle. Then you can get hold of this for... I've just got glue on there. Honestly, what am I like? I need to find my rubber in a minute and move that out of the way, probably before I stick the thank you on. But yes, if you make an order between now and a week on Friday, you can still get this bundle. £90 order will get you this bundle of the lovely stamp set and embossing folder. And then you can make this card. And I do need to get rid of that. Where's my rubber? Sorry, folks, leaning all over the picture here, but I need to get hold of my rubber. There we go. Hopefully get that back in. There we go. So, because I managed to get glue on there, which is not good, but an ordinary rubber will just move that. I do have an adhesive rubber, so I didn't need that for this. It was just a little bit of glue on my finger, which will come off with an ordinary rubber. So now I have a nice clean base to stick my final sentiment on. And there we will raise that on the dimensionals. So there is my thank you card, made with the Softly Sophisticated bundle and the embossing folder. And I'm really rather pleased with that. I quite like the sort of subtler colours in that, and I like the way the blue flowers really stick out there. And again, you can decorate the envelope. I might put the flowers on the envelope this time rather than just colour with do the embossing paper thing, do the DSP flap thing. So that's what I did with that envelope. I'll do the rest after this. You don't need to watch me do that. And here are the other cards that we made today, the little set of note cards, and I will finish their envelopes and make a little box for them at some point. And that is my projects for today. So I hope you enjoyed those. And yeah, all the measurements will be in the blog this evening. It should come out somewhere around 6 o'clock, depending on when I get it finished. And you'll see the video replay will be up there as well. I'll put the link in. So thank you for joining me today. Let me just come back here and just check there's no other comments or questions. Simply elegant. Oh, thank you, Veronica. That's lovely. Yeah, thank you. Right, so those are my projects today. As I said, I do hope that you managed to get this bundle because it really is beautiful. And the dies I use, just to remind you, these are the Thoughtful Expressions dies, which are from the current mini catalogue. That goes on till the end of April, so you've got plenty of time to get the stuff from there. But of course, the free stuff runs out at the end of next week with Celebration ending. I actually preferred it when it was when Celebration went on a bit longer, but there we go. And I hope also you have seen the lovely new things that are in Celebration this month. And they added a few new things, including a whole set of, I think for a £90 order, a whole set of the new in colours. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, and I will see you again, hopefully, next Tuesday at the same time. Then I'm afraid there's going to be a little bit of a break through March. I have to go away. I'm going away, taking with my mother to go and see some relatives because she wants to do that, which is a bit of a farewell tour for her, I suspect, over in England. So we need to do that, and which is the beginning of March. And then I'm actually away at the Stamping Up conference the following week. I actually go on the Wednesday, so I might have time for a live on that Tuesday, which is the 12th of March. So there's one next week, 20-something of February, and then one on the 18th of March, hopefully, the 12th of March, hopefully, hopefully one again the following week. Then I'm having a couple of weeks off for Easter, and I'm also having my hip replaced. So I'm not sure when I'll be back after Easter, but hopefully by May I'll be back doing this, because as soon as I can sit in this chair, I will be back crafting. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, and I hope I see you again next week. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.